Two more transcripts from closed-door testimony at the impeachment inquiry into Donald Trump have been released. One of the diplomats is Gordon Sondland, a Trump appointee, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union. High position, of course. In his testimony, Sondland says there was clearly a quid pro quo being undertaken, where the United States was to withhold military aid crucial to Ukraine unless the Ukrainians agreed to investigate the business dealings of Donald Trump's domestic rival, Joe Biden, and his son, Hunter Biden. Let's go to our bureau in Washington. Joy Malbon is standing by with the very latest on this. Walk us through the significance of this, Joy.
Well, Gordon Sondland, you mentioned he was a big-time Trump donor, and when he testified behind closed doors, we heard a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but he kind of connects the dots in this deposition. I've just been going through them now, and he said at first this was supposed to be an investigation about Ukrainian corruption, but he said little by little he was kind of making the link, and he says, why is this pressure on? Why is Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, why is he pushing for an investigation into the 2016 election? Again, this conspiracy theory that it wasn't Russia, that it was Ukraine that hacked the Democratic convention and released all those emails. And why was there this pressure? And I'm just going to read you one excerpt that I was just looking at. He said that it kept getting more insidious as the timeline went on. And back in July, it was just about corruption. And then he suggests that what Rudy Giuliani was suggesting in this pressure campaign was potentially illegal. He said it's fair to say that was my understanding, that getting a meeting between Zelensky, who's the president and the new president of Ukraine, was tied to these investigations into the Bidens and the 2016 election. So it's pretty significant stuff here. But at the same time, the transcript of Kurt Volker, another ambassador, they call themselves the Three Amigos because there was another deposition by Bill Taylor, a U.S. acting ambassador to the Ukraine, who seems stunned by this request for an investigation in exchange for holding up military aid. And he asked Sondland about this, but Kurt Volker, this former envoy to Ukraine, told investigators that Ukrainians asked to be connected to Giuliani to get to Trump, but he denies that Trump linked the Ukraine meeting to push for these investigations. So they kind of negate each other in their testimony. But again, these are building blocks that Democratic investigators are trying to build in their case against the president.
And speaking of building blocks, I mean, they're still hoping that John Bolton might agree to appear before their committees. And there's also word they want Mulvaney, who is the acting chief of staff to Donald Trump, to appear as well. Any indication whether those two men would even agree to do that?
Considering what happened yesterday and today, no shows from the White House, I'm kind of thinking no. I mean, Mick Mulvaney is interesting, though, acting chief of staff. And just a few weeks ago, he admitted to reporters that there was this so-called quid pro quo, investigate and, we'll give you military aid. And then he walked it back saying, no, the media, they changed my words up. They're to blame. But nobody expects him to really show up. And certainly John Bolton, remember, he's got a book coming out on Donald Trump. Not sure that he wants to, talk about anything until he gets that book launch going. But they have been, subpoenaed. They've been asked to testify. We'll just have to wait to see.
Thank you for this, Joy.
Thanks.